But there was another section, of course. There's another section from here about somebody that's looking to take Candace on legally. I don't know if you all paid attention to this, so let's bring it in. Let's go.
I asked Phil Lyman 3 times via text whether or not he could help us, more importantly, identify the 2 individuals that were in the photo with his nephew or cousin, if you will. And he was kind of pretending to be confused about what photo in particular I was referring to, despite the fact that I sent it multiple times in the text chain. And then finally he said that he had no idea who those 2 individuals were at all. I thought that's interesting. This is allegedly your nephew, cousin. You guys are all chilling on this block around the same time. He's with these 2 individuals. You've never heard of them. You've never seen them, nothing. Because I got to identify that guy in the blue hat. Many of you figured out, by the way, and wrote to the tips box exactly what we were interested about in that person with the blue hat. You noticed the same thing that we noticed. He kind of resembles, certainly more so than Tyler Robinson does, the blurred image of the individual that was coming up the stairs. I couldn't look away from that. I was going through the photos and I was going, I would just like...
I'm going to slow down a little bit because I don't want y'all to miss this. Because this has been a while. This was a while ago. Do y'all remember that? Like the guy on the left is supposed to be Tyler Robinson. The guy on the right with the blue hat is the guy that Candace is saying represents the guy on the blue hat. I mean, the guy on the left more than Tyler Robinson does. This is crazy work. And I really want you to think about what does this mean for this gentleman in the blue hat? Let's just say he's just an average dude living his life, trying to live life. And imagine what would actually happen if Candace just all of a sudden just calls him out and says, you are the one that did it. What do you think could happen? You'll find out. But I just want you to think about that, like how reckless she is. This is not investigative journalism by any means or measures. You won't see even the most slimy investigative journalists from the 70s and 80s. They didn't even do this type of stuff. That is some crazy work. But let's go.
To quickly identify that individual and check him off and just know where he was because, it looks to be about the same height. It's weird.
How?
Oddly, when I say oddly, I mean this has never happened in the history of all of our investigations. No one emailed us to say that they knew either of those 2 individuals, neither the blonde that's with Shaner or the person that is wearing the blue hat that is with Shaner. I said, that's weird. I wanted to get to the bottom, as I said earlier, of who that second person was in the photo with his nephew, cousin, whatever you want to call him. And we got just 1 hit. And it was from Belfast, North Ireland, no less. Somebody sent us an email and he said, look, I conducted an interview, an internet-wide search of the person's face. And I only got 1 hit using technology. And the hit was in Provo, Utah. And he wrote to me that it was quite a coincidence because not only is the person in Provo for this 1 hit for this face, but also he's featured on a website pertaining to bees. And he's like, didn't you just do a thing saying that you had this weird thing about bees and you thought there was something else?
I forgot about the bee. I forgot this bee comment. Good gracious, man. This woman is insufferable. But I want you to see just how sloppy and unprofessional and unserious she is. Let's go.
Else going on. And my goodness, you guys, I almost jumped when I learned that website he was referring to, Buzzard and Bees, is a Gothic underground in Provo. Okay. So this is the website. It's a Gothic underground of all things in Provo, the website Buzzard and Bees. And they're speaking about a Gothic prom. That is where that person's face comes up, except he's wearing makeup to make him, look a little more Gothic. Take a look at this. I'm going to show you the side-by-side of this individual, and I am certain.
Oh, no. I'm hoping to talk to this person. In the chat, is that the same guy? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not going to say all white guys look alike, right? I don't think he necessarily looks like him. And I think the only reason he looks like it is because he has that shadow because of the hat. I don't think he looks like him. And I'm not just saying it because I want Candace to be wrong. Okay, some people say yeah. Okay, a lot of people say no. I don't think so, man. I don't think, but again, like, who cares? It's just a dude. And I talked to somebody yesterday, big screen. I talked to somebody yesterday, and most of the time, if you're dealing with a situation where you can go left or you could go right in this conversation, a lot of people choose to go right and they say, okay, that's the end of it. Like, for example, I don't know where my friend Bobby is. You know what? It's 1:00 on Tuesday. He's probably at work. Now, people going to the left, however, they will create a narrative. Well, I don't know. I called his job. He didn't answer. So therefore, he must be out doing something else. And now I'm going to like, hey, and you just go down these rabbit trail of insanity. And that's really where Candace is. Instead of just accepting, like, you know what? Okay. There you go. Those guys went and they followed the path that Tyler Robinson took. It was 3 college friends. They went and took the path to see who he took. Okay, fine. Not they all of a sudden now they themselves are suspects in the murder, which is just the craziest thing. But it's a mindset. It's got to be a mindset that you're not willing to just accept the most obvious solution, the most obvious answer to the question, but rather it's got to be something different. It's got to be something more than that. Let's finish this up because I want y'all to see this.
Can't say 100%, okay, because we need to find this person's name.
Why?
But this is a match, okay? The ears, the chin, just everything about this individual is a match. But he is as of yet identified as a unidentified, as a Gothic person, and he is also as of yet unidentified as the close friend of Shayna Broderick, who cannot be found anywhere else, or people are not familiar with this person. So I'm thinking maybe he also came from overseas. Okay, now we turn our attention back to the mysterious individual that is next to Shayna, right? We discovered that one person was from Austria. And then we're going, who's this goth kid that Phil has been clear he does not know him. Phil Lyman does not know this individual. He could not help identify him. I told you it was unusual that our inbox wasn't instantly flooded with people telling us exactly who it was. Well, then we did get another hit on him. And a handful of you similarly found the same person that we did. A person going by the name Robbie Hild, who is allegedly from Washington. Now,
I just want you to think how reckless this is. And you probably already know where I'm going with this conversation if you follow my opening. Look at how reckless this is. So she wants me to believe that this guy right here is the goth guy with the makeup and the white face paint and the guy with the baseball cap. Man, she is out of control. And you already know where we're going. So if you've been following along, I've alluded to this. And hopefully we're going to see some resolution soon.
Tell you why I don't think this is his true identity, okay? Because if this was just some kid who grew up in Washington, went to school in Utah, my inbox would be flooded with that name, and it's not, okay? It's simply not. Oddly, no one has come forward to claim that they know Robbie Hill. They're all just saying...
Also, let me point out, and I've said this before, Candace's inbox drives the conversation. What's in it and what's not in it drives the content. So she really has non-tent. She has no content. It's non-tent. And I've said it before, and this is the perfect example right here, that if I don't have something in my inbox, that must be something bad. If I have a whole bunch of stuff in my inbox, that must be something good. Like, that's the crazy work that she puts out there. So yeah, Candace is non-tent. Her inbox is the producer of the show.
I got a hit. This might be him. No one is saying they went to school with him. This is a young college student. He's allegedly, like I said, from Washington State. And no one personally can say, I know this person. How could that be? How could that be? I'm going to tell you something. Because I'm starting to get a hunch about things. And we're going to go more deeply into this tomorrow. But many of you guys have been sending those clues about the Azov battalion, about Ukrainian, Russian people that were coming into Utah. There seems to be some.
This almost seems like 1,000 years ago. I mean, she's talking about stuff that sounds 1,000. She's talking about Phil Lyman and Shriner, whatever the young boy's name is, and Ukraine. It sounds like 1,000 years ago compared to where we are now. It just sounds crazy. Well, I'm sorry. It sounded crazy then too. Let's just be honest.
Organized movement, people that are being given new identities. Actually, one person wrote us and told us that UVU in and of itself as a campus has an unbelievable amount of dedication. I mean, even the president, I'm blanking on her name, majored in Soviet studies. Like they have a direct pipeline from Russia to America. It's very interesting. And yes, it is true. It is a fact that Tyler Robinson, we can't confirm that this is Mike Mitchell, but there are old photos of Tyler Robinson when he's a lot younger visiting his uncle Mikey. Okay, his uncle Mikey, who is working with the Ukrainian Azov battalion. Okay, he's a military man. And that gets really interesting when I start to combine all of the aspects of this case. And again, we are still in theory territory, but I feel like we are
we're in theory territory.
I'm starting to get stronger than a theory and more of a hunch that this was a military operation and people that executed this are actually from overseas. And when you look at the aspects of the UVU case and their strong ties to that region, things get really interesting. When you look at UVU campus and their strong.
So instead of just saying Tyler Robinson was a radicalized alphabet mafia participant, member, sympathizer, whatever, and he found Charlie Kirk's words to be abhorrent to the point that he wanted to take it into his own hands and take Charlie Kirk's life. That is too much to believe. But Ukrainian Russian bee farmers, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense to this woman. Okay. I just want to make sure. I'm not saying that everything about the original or the official narrative that it cannot be assailed. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is more of that makes sense than what you're saying. Now, if what you're saying made more sense, then maybe we could rock with it. But I'm sorry, underground bee farms and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles doesn't make sense. It sounds like you're crazy. I put it on Twitter that she's got us arguing that Barbie deleted Ken and had Duke and Snake Eyes do it because she wants more room in the dream house for her closet. And it was all approved by President Lex Luthor. Like, that's what she's got us arguing about. Not the fact that what you're saying didn't make any sense, but rather whether or not it was Barbie that deleted Ken, or it's basically a new version of Who Shot JR. That's really what this is. Who Shot JR? That's it. Okay, let's get done.
Strong ties to the CIA, things start to get really interesting, right? And I think this is a path that needs to be pursued, that these people have different identities and that they are perhaps all from overseas. And it turns out that there have been, the New York Times has reported on Russian Ukrainian spies that are building new lives from themselves with new IDs in America, in Brazil. Essentially what we're talking about are terrorist cells. I believe that. I believe that with the Ukrainian war, okay? And they always hack us emotionally. Oh, we need to have open borders. It allows.
When you think about the fact that now she's blaming it on Jews, this sounds like again, this seems like a whole different episode. This is all a part of the same episode. This was like 2 months ago, barely 2 months ago. That's the part that is just really staggering. Like, wow, she really has gone crazy. She really has gone off the rails. I mean, Russian Ukrainian spies, they were catching strays. Now we got Jews and they're catching strays, and French are in here. Like, how did the French get caught up in here? Remember Angola? Angola was brought into it as well. Like, this is the craziest stuff. And she wants us to take her seriously. We're not going to do that.
Allows them to get in people that are perhaps completely insane and deranged, and they are
Like
in
yourself.
fact raising little militants, and they're executing these programs. And let me tell you, if this is correct,
Oh my gosh.
if this is sort of like a neo-Bolshevik militant tribe, then we need to be concerned. And spiritually, I can tell you how I feel spiritually.
Oh, tell us.
That feels right to me. I've been pleading with you guys to get your kids out of these schools. I am telling you that something very dark is going on, and I'm going to continue to stress to you that you need to take your children out of school. Homeschool your children. There is something dark that I am perceiving that is happening, not just in public schools, but in private schools as well. Okay, it's why our kids had to go. We couldn't get basic answers about somebody that had kind of fallen into through the cracks and was posting Polish underground symbols. Her parent.
Okay, this is interesting. I hope I get to this part. Remember, this is when we got the whole bees thing, right? Put some bees in the chat. This is where the bees came from. And it hit me one day. Do you all remember she was taking a collection for more security that day? Do y'all remember that? She was passing the plate around the Cult of Candace Church for security. And I thought about it, like, wow, every so often Candace comes out and asks for money for things like security. Because then after the alleged French assassination plot, what did she ask for? Money for security. But she already has security. This is I haven't dug into it that much, but it just seems very interesting that she keeps coming up asking for money for security, which seems so odd to me.
Was posting Polish underground symbols, and I realized something was wrong. Something was off. I'm showing you this. This is like one headline, and this is translated from Russian, by the way. So the English here isn't perfect, but it is telling about White Lotus sect of all things. For those of you that followed the Becoming Brigitte series and things that we have spoken about this White Lotus idea, it's essentially they're training fighters, and that this has been declassified, and that they have these regional organizations, these all Ukrainian organizations, and that's exactly what it sounds like, that they're training fighters, that it's really dangerous. And my suspicion is that this is happening right here in America. It would make sense that there is global communication if they want to take somebody out. And it is also a fact, by the way, that Charlie was on a hit list. I also was on the hit list. Tucker was on the hit list. And actually, I forgot the name of the individual that worked for Alex Jones who got killed, but he was similarly on a Ukrainian hit list. Okay, so to show you who those individuals are, a lot of software engineers. We can pull back up Emmanuel Urier. You saw his name there again. We're pulling people that spoke to the press publicly. We're not revealing any information here, but he works for Domo Incorporated. His history is that he is a software engineer, a technical advisor. His name is German in origin. I'd like to know a little bit more. Also, when I look up these people, by the way, none of them have reached out to me. Like from the minute that this all happened, I asked for information. And for whatever reason, these people were very anxious to speak to the press right after. But then we're like, you know what? We're not gonna speak to anybody else about that. Same for Gurno owner. We covered this. He was with Phil Lyman's nephew, cousin. We learned was a software engineer from Austria. So Austria, Germany. Okay. Featured in Shaner's Instagram. And that guy, Scott Robbins, that you saw looking like a college kid, well, he was also a gubernatorial candidate. He ran for governor of Utah in 2024. Nobody mentioned this. I guess all of these USA Today or AP, nobody asked them like who they were, if they were.
Okay. The irony of what she just said is staggering. She just said that these people don't reach out to her. They didn't tell her that they were from Austria, that they were running for governor, so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. So apparently that's really bad, right? In the chat, that's really bad. Put in there that's really bad, okay? Because they didn't tell Candace that stuff. That's terrible. That's terrible. Just put that's bad in the chat, because they didn't tell Candace that, oh yeah, by the way, this person, he ran for governor. This person his name is German and his parents are from Austria. That's really bad. But you know what else is also bad? Platforming somebody that beats up their wives, Candace. Platforming somebody whose whole family has disavowed him because he's a pathological liar. Those things are bad. Those are kind of bad too, Candy. So why is it that it's bad that they didn't tell you that this guy ran for governor, but you never told your audience that they have put $142,000 into that GoFundMe account for a person that's gone to jail multiple times for beating up their spouse? That might be important to know. Hey, by the way, I'm supporting a wife abuser. I'm supporting somebody whose kids want nothing to do with him. I just think that might be pretty bad. I could be crazy. Call me traditional. Not knowing that the person's last name is Austrian. Hey, that's bad. Supporting somebody that beats up his wife as a sport. That's going to go on the really, really bad list. Okay. Okay. Really bad, Candy. But see, you get away with that. You can do that kind of stuff. And I do think that she paid Mitch Snow through the GoFundMe. The GoFundMe is his way of getting paid to come on the platform and to lie on Erica Kurt, Brian Harpole, and my dog and my left toenail. Everybody that he lied on, that's how she funded paying for him. So that way on her paperwork, she doesn't have to say that she actually paid Mitch Snow $150,000, but rather the GoFundMe provided him $150,000 and her hands are clean. That's why she did it. Y'all, my name is Jason. I find this woman adorable. And I mean that in the most petty way possible because she's inconsistent and she's a liar.
College students, and for whatever reason, everybody that they spoke to wasn't that. We will continue to grow this witness tree. Robbie Hild, we've put a TBD on because we're getting crazy information on him. We're calling him Mr. Worldwide over here. Okay.
Just because he was in a picture with his friend. The guy didn't do anything. I just want you to know that. The dude didn't do anything. He just was in the picture with this guy right here, Shaner, which is Phil Lyman's nephew. Like, that's how far we've descended into madness. Instead of saying, hey, let's look into the Tyler Robinson story and let's dig into some of these areas that don't make sense. We could do that. But no. Let's dig into the family that used to own the property that UVU is on. Let's ransack the family tree to see if we can harass people. That's what she's doing. And by the way, her Give Send Go has got $144,000 for Mitch. I believe that money is being basically, for lack of a better term, money laundered to him. That's what I think has happened. But I'll finish. Let's go. We're almost done.
We've got Robbie Hild in the Cayman Islands. We've got Robbie Hild in Spain. We've got Robbie Hild all over. And so that's going to take some time. We need to be more thorough in that. And we will have more on Robbie Hild on Monday.
And she never came back. That was the last time she mentioned Robbie Hild. Now, I bring that up because I got a message yesterday from Robbie Hild. I'm waiting to hear back from him, and maybe we can have him come on and discuss what's going on. But I want y'all to know that this kind of stuff that she does, when she just throws out a random name, she just throws out a person, she picks a person's name out of a hat and starts calling them out, it does have long-lasting real world ramifications that Candace Owens will be like, oh, I never said anything about him. I just was asking questions. Blah, blah, blah. And people's lives are being negatively impacted wholesale. I know you liked that episode. This is actually a clip from a larger live stream. The link is down in the description, so you can go check it out. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you down there. Grace and peace.